is GameCorp, Crisis on Infinite Earths review. I'm your host, as always, Chad Porto, and joining me is my glorious co-host, Marcus Green. Marcus, how are you?
I'm good. What's good, people?
We are down a Thackeray tonight because Thackeray did not watch any of the Crises. I like to consider him the lucky one. I need to stop expecting anything good from Greg Berlanti. They did this whole thing terribly.
I so want to have faith for you with Stargirl.
I wouldn't, not anymore. I when it was on the streaming service, I knew that Berlanti wasn't going to have as much pull with it because we saw what Titans and Doom Patrol was, and while there were some real dumbass lines in Titans for fan service and to try to milk that pandering vote that they like so much with the, did Batman just mansplain me? No, he didn't. You didn't know what the fuck was going on, and he explained something to you. You not knowing it doesn't make it mansplaining. It just means you're dumb. Like, stop. But, like, I didn't think that was going to be so prevalent with Stargirl because I thought Stargirl was going to be in that safe bubble. Nope. That's on CW. I have no faith in this world anymore. In this world, I mean this show specifically. So, this was the end of a 5-week, 5-episode crossover event, and nothing in this was good. Like, the first episode or two, I had potential. And then the third episode was like, what? And then the fourth episode was a fucking, 10th episode mid-season Power Ranger episode. Random-ass Australian canyon with just randomized rocks. Oh, by the by, I say that unironically because I just remembered that was the point in time in the episode where the Anti-Monitor literally said, after 10,000 years, you think you can stop my plan? And I'm like, oh, he gone full Rita Repulsa on this bullshit. And now here you got fucking Stephen Amell dressed up as Zordon. Like, oh, god damn it.
Like, damn it. And you beat me to the Power Ranger reference. I'm like, make my monster grow.
Like, did that too.
Quarry, like a quarry, a giant, and I'm like, wow, they really turned this into a Power Rangers episode.
It was even complete with dumb, nonsensical Power Ranger science plot. We'll shrink them. What? What? So, the original Crisis ends with destruction of a bunch of Earths. Supergirl punches the Anti-Monitor so hard the Anti-Monitor explodes and dies. Supergirl dies. Flash dies. Oliver's like, all right, well, this time around, instead of you two dying, I'm going to die for you. Okay, why? I don't know. Like, Oliver didn't die for anyone. Like, what was the point of him dying? To become the spirit of vengeance? That was a waste. Looked like a hobo on crack.
He had to become something else, Chad. Someone else.
Something on the plane. There's something on the wing. He did become something else. Unbearable.
If just give him some golf makeup and a green trench coat, they'll be fine. Oh, and modulate his voice, he'll be fine.
Right. And then, so, all right. So, this was so dumb. So, Oliver comes to Barry and says, you need to find us in the Speed Force. And then Barry finds Oliver, and Oliver goes like, Barry, what are you doing? And I'm like, no. Writers, what are you doing? How can Oliver be omnipotent and understand what Barry needs to do, but then somehow get sucked back into this routine of everyone else? Like, that's so dumb. And then he's like, go to different points in the timeline where we bonded and became a team. And everyone just shows up at points in time where they weren't there. So how the fuck are they supposed to go to moments where they became a bonded team, and they're not even there for the moments? Like, Barry shows up and sees a dead Sarah. Fucking Oliver, and Barry were chilling in the final showdown at the what was it, Crisis on Two Earths from the last seasons. I'm just like, this is some dumb shit. Like, this is some big dumb bullshit. Like, this is convoluted as nonsense.
It really is, and because you can't even like back that promise up in theory, because you're looking like, wait a minute, when did they bond with um, Kate from Batwoman? Like they only like blended with her that one time from the crossover, and even in that, we were supposed to believe that she had some long-standing, I guess, relationship with Oliver for whatever reason, but that was never really delved into. So there was never a point in the Speed Force to go to where she actually ever bonded with them because it doesn't exist in the first place. So they just placed her at a random point in Oliver's in an Arrow storyline where he was going back and forth with Ray. And I guess she learned that people need to be able to trust you or something. They're not going to be able to do anything to make her show suck less. So at this point,
just straight into the stupid. So the only good thing, and I say this only because I'm a fan of logistics. I like things being compounded and kind of stacked on one another. And I like the idea of things being kind of just very seamless. So putting all the shows on one universe makes sense. I don't know why you had to wait 5 years to do it. But here we are. Life. They literally could have done all this with Flashpoint 3 years ago. Just saying. They didn't need to send Black Lightning into its own universe at the inception. Like, Batwoman apparently had her own universe at one point. I don't know. It's all fucking stupid. And now, just to make things even more complicated, the Doom Patrol and Titans, the two DC Universe streaming services shows, aren't even on the same Earth. One's on Earth 19, one's on Earth 21. The Big Dumb has arrived. So, essentially, they beat the Anti-Monitor by shrinking him into oblivion, and that's just the lamest way to beat somebody. I don't know. I was really hopeful about this crossover, and then, I saw it.
I mean, he was supposed to be, by the way, what the freak happened to Marv Novu? But, yeah, I mean, he's supposed to be way stronger than Marv Novu and had this omnipotent, undefeatable power, and instead of just, I mean, because, one of the biggest things we saw the Monitor do was, like, he literally just puffed 90s Flash out of an episode. And he, like the Monitor, I feel like the Anti-Monitor could have did the same thing to our heroes. And instead he just, like, grew and tried to step on them.
He sent smoke zombies at him.
By the way, that Corp fight was stupid as all hell. I'm sorry. It was stupid as all hell. And the fact... And what was the point of them standing together and believing in their individual freaking things? Like, we have to believe in love. And I'm like, how stupid. Like, y'all made Power Rangers look like opera.
Yeah. Oh, that was so lame. And when the time comes, you'll know what to do. Why are you being vague? It's because I don't know what to do. Like, I'm being honest. Like, y'all are fucked. Thanks, Al, for a great pep talk.
Why don't you know? Because the writers don't. This is them speaking through me, literally.
The idea, like, you could have done... So, all right, so they basically kind of combined Crisis on Infinite Earths finale with the Infinite Crisis finale. No, I'm sorry, not the Infinite Crisis finale. The Crisis in Time 0 Hour finale. What you should have done it would have been so much easier. You do the first 3 episodes just like that, and then you kind of reboot the universe in the quote-unquote negative realm to kind of give us like an episode of what it would look like in the negative verse. And then in episode 5, Oliver, who's still not dead, is essentially told that he's a conduit. He can be a conduit to change and to restarting things. So they have like Black Lightning and Adam and Supergirl and Superman and whoever else basically pump him full of energy, and the fucking monitor throws Oliver at the end of any monitor. It's like a goddamn giant nuke that reignites the universe. So Oliver dies basically being the new Big Bang. I know that sounds really dumb saying it out loud. It's a hell of a lot better than him dying in a dress. Going, like Zordon. Like, holy shit, did they just take the 1995 Power Rangers movie and make it into an episode of goddamn superheroes? What the fuck ever.
Minus the popcorn bag.
Right? He was more in like a sausage casing. So, there's so much about this that sucked. One, I don't watch Supergirl, so this chick in the blue with the mind reading sleep powers or whatever, and she can like make clouds appear. Who the fuck? She's terrible. She's the worst. They made Ryan Chow this big, kind of figure who apparently can fist fight ghost demons, but then one comes after him and he's like, no, don't hurt me. Like, what? And he clearly knows what's going on. It's not like this is a new thing. Like, how does Lex Luthor write in a goddamn ancient tablet and change the entire course of destiny with a Sharpie? What? Is Sharpie that powerful? I know you can't get it off skin. I get that. But the worst. And Marcus, this is genuinely the worst thing ever. The monitors and the anti-monitor were not of the same person. They were of the same race. They were basically immortal gods who watched over all universes. One goes psychedelically psychotic, hops on Mobius's chair, and becomes like, nah, dog. I'm going to do some shit. And he basically goes rogue. So, okay, they're around for eons and eons and eons. That makes sense. They don't adhere to time the same way. No.
That's the comic, right?
Yeah, that's the comic version. No, not this. Not in the TV show, though. No. What we got was that Movu, right? Was that his name? Movu?
Yeah, Mar Novu, yeah.
Mar Novu. Zili Zukushe avec moi. Mara Novu. So Mara Novu is not even an omnipotent being. He's just some crackpot scientist from a different planet 10,000 years in the past. So how the fuck did he become this god being? And how the fuck did any of that go down? They don't cover that.
At all.
So this dude's just a random-ass scientist. He ends up going into the wrong universe for like a hot minute. His wife's all like, hey, dog, where you at? And he's all like, I don't know, boo. This shit's weird. It looks like a Power Ranger episode. And she's like, what's Power Rangers? And he's like, shit, something's happening. And then, like, his evil version shows up. Like, what? And that's not how energy and matter work? Like, what?
It became, first off, if anybody that deserves immense amount of credit throughout this entire crossover is with Monica Garrett for everything that he had to do. Yeah. Regardless of how convoluted that it obviously was. I mean, but the starters, look, we knew that they weren't going to be able to do Crisis properly on TV scale. And just, I mean, they weren't going to be able to do it to its fullest extent. We knew that going in. And we knew that we would get a lot of cameos, and we were excited for them. Specifically how certain stuff will be executed, but it became fairly obvious very early on that they were going at this by the seat of their pants. All the important stuff that they kept telling us was happening was only ever important as it needed to be in the scene, and then the next scene to come, and it'll be like it never happened, or it get completely ignored. Like it makes no sense. Like the whole thing with the Lex, the Book of Destiny. I get it, John Crye's great as Lex and all that stuff, but making him a sticking point really felt like it didn't matter throughout the thing. The whole concept of him stealing the Book of Destiny, like the convolution with the model in the first place was like he kept saying that he couldn't do stuff because it was written, but then he kept doing shit. Like he couldn't go back in time and save Oliver, but he just gave Vibe his powers back. He couldn't go back and save Oliver when he first died, but he went back in time and got the Book of Destiny. And you're just saying these things haphazardly right after you said that it couldn't happen.
I think the thing that really pisses me off is I like the idea of killing Oliver and making him the Spectre. What I didn't like is the way they executed it, because the Spectre, you know, in the comics is essentially God's flaming sword. Like he does not lose. He has no equal. If he wanted to snap his fingers and eradicate all evil, he could. And he does. The problem with the Spectre is he's only... I'm really streamlining him as a character, but he can only really exist in this realm with a mortal soul. And because the Spectre is nothing but pure vengeance, the soul, quote-unquote, corrupts the Spectre, adding a human element to it. So, you know, it becomes a difficult balancing act for the entity, because now he has a human soul, you know, basically keeping him chained, so to speak, but also keeping him in this universe. But in Arrowverse, it's just like, let's meditate. Why are we meditating? I don't know. Leon, you reference? Because it's purgatory, get it? There's no nuance with him. There's no real omnipotence with the character. This was a character that was so steeped in power that in the third crisis, or fourth, depending on how you want to numer them, 0 Hour, he literally went toe-to-toe with Parallax, who literally destroyed time on his own. And Spectre just showed him, he's like, hey, Hal Jordan, you're being kind of a cunt. I'm going to punch you in the face. And Hal's like, you're not going to punch me in the face. And then Spectre punched him in the face. He's quite powerful. But the only reason he ever interceded with that was because the soul he was attached to was friends with Oliver Queen, ironically enough, in the comics. And Oliver Queen faded out of existence, and Spectre swore vengeance on Queen, so Spectre showed up to beat up Hal Jordan. But in the show, they just made Oliver Queen's Spectre just kind of gothy? Ragman with a better outfit? Like, I don't know. Wasn't impressive. I was really let down and disappointed, especially with the big hype around him being the Spectre. And then the Spectre's a literal ghost. So Oliver dies as a ghost. I don't know.
Yeah, again, stuff that's never explained, that explored more. Or like they thrive off very much, and this crossover specifically thrived off pandering to its fan base. Like that CW fan base, it don't take a lot to get these people happy or to please them. They just want to see a lot of these characters together. And for the most part, that pleases the fan base enough that they just let anything that happens go. And we talked about this, we're evolving past that point because we're watching stuff like The Boys and The Orville, which doesn't get enough credit as a show. And we're getting like quality character with quality character and acting with quality storylines with these shows, like specifically with The Flash. Like, we get it. These characters are not going to be as powerful as they are in the comics. We already know because of the medium and all that. But y'all aren't even consistent with that. These characters are only ever as powerful or weak as the thing called for. And okay, we got to put up with that. Fine. But y'all do that with the storyline too. Like, it only ever makes as much sense as it needs to for the moment.
This is kind of...
I don't...
No, I'm sorry. Go on.
Yeah. You can drop 12 Kevin Conroys in the middle of this, and it still won't matter because none of this crap is going to make sense.
This is the AEW argument. You can have the flashiest, most intense, cool things in the world, but if you don't have the basic fundamentals down of storytelling, no one's going to give a shit. And that's what Crisis was. They suckered us in with all these great cameos, and they were. I'm going to say here, like, every single cameo landed. I loved them all. But once you got past the cameos, it's like the writer's room, like, all right, what do we do now? I don't know. Have him grow to be a giant. We'll do a Bee-Boo reference or a Woo-Boo, whatever the fuck that Bee-Boo is. And then apparently they're like, Bee-Boo's sacred. Like, that joke didn't land that well when the show first introduced that stupid-ass fucking character in Season 3. Still isn't working. I don't understand why these writers think it's so hard to write these shows. It's not. Like, all you gotta do is, like, use common sense. It's perplexing, man. I am perplexed by the stupidity at the writing.
It's funny, and because we feel like we talk about this so much with wrestling, but it kind of goes back to the old the saying, like, you teach somebody how to love you, that whole deal. Like, I feel like a lot of the reason why we see this stuff is because the fan base, like I said, that core fan base that keeps these shows, like the fact that Batwoman is second, like I guess the second rated, top rated show behind the Flash, says a lot about that fan base, the CW verse in general. But these fans don't demand better. Like I said, all they care about are those cameos and stuff that looks cool, and just seeing these characters together. Like what was the point? I like Alex from Supergirl, and I put up with Renee. Although I'll be thoroughly glad once Arrow's over because I won't have to see him anymore. Why the freak were in that quarry fight shooting bullets at a intergalactic being?
Because representation, Marcus.
And exactly. I'm glad you brought that. Is exactly the only time the fan base bitches. It's not about narratives. It's about we need this colored actress to have better story, whatever that's supposed to mean, or why isn't this character gay, or why aren't these straight characters? Why don't you make them gay? Because we want them to be gay. That's the only thing the fan base ever bitches over. Not the fact that, like you said, that nothing with the Spectre really made a lot of sense. The Book of Destiny, that was just that Book of Destiny is basically was a MacGuffin through the whole thing. And don't even get me started on the like the Bebo stuff is whatever, it's legends. The only reason why I like the Bebo stuff was because it gave us a chance to get great moments with Mick, which I would never complain about.
You mean Rebecca?
Oh God, that's like die for a ball. It's like, what, that blue bastard ruined my book sock. I love that.
The absurdity of that is why it's funny. Should we call you Rebecca? Yeah. That's fine.
But the fan base don't demand better because they've told the writers and those creators, Guggenheim and specifically Berlanti, we don't care for better. We want you to serve us up this hollow, just fluff. As long as we get these gay characters and the diversity of it all, as long as we get these characters in groups and these ships, we're fine. We don't need great writing. We can go, Watchmen for that. By the way, that's not coming back, so you can suck face with that. But
wait, HBO canceled Watchmen?
No, it's just not coming back for a second season apparently because I guess Lindelof isn't coming back. Huh. So they don't. I guess they don't want to go forward with a second season, which is understandable. I mean, you don't. Why would you want to make a second Joker if we got Michael Bay directing this time? No, we good. We good.
All right, wait, hang on. I'd watch a Michael Bay Watchmen. I'm not saying I'd enjoy it, but I'd fucking watch it.
Oh my God, like Dr. Manhattan under the guise of Bayham. Jesus Christ.
Fucking Will Smith's Rorschach.
Oh.
He stands up and the camera whips around him at sunset because it's always sunset in a Michael Bay movie. Always. Whips around. Rips around, we'll call him Wilshak. Wilshak takes off his mask, and then all of a sudden Martin Lawrence in Blueface rolls up, and Will Smith's like, it's going down. Martin Lawrence is fucking Dr. Manhattan's going, woosah. Woosah. Rorschach walks up to some random dude. You ever been to prison? See, now you want to see this. Just make bad voice too. No Watchmen. Oh, goddamn. So I think part of the problem is, and you mentioned Supergirl, and I think that's the perfect point. Supergirl's a poorly written show. I mean, granted, most of these shows are. Like, it's not taking shots at one or the other. But I think the reason why Flash and Supergirl kind of maintain their fan base is because they cater specifically to audiences clamoring for quote-unquote diversity. So it doesn't even matter if the show is bad. They're being given exactly what they want, so they feel that this show is for them. And instead of going, listen, I want my representation, but I want it in a steak, not in a ground chuck burger you got off the ground that you dusted it and told me is free range. No. Bitch, I know what good meat is. I know what bad meat is. That's bad meat. Because you're giving it to me doesn't mean I'm going to take it. And fans need to realize that. Like, what we got from the CW with this Crisis on Infinite Earths was pure trash. With Swiss cheese size holes in all of it. And the sad thing is you bring up The Boys. And by the way, that trailer for season 2 did me no favors because now I'm just angry. I'm just angry that it's not here now. I'm just angry that I have to wait. I'm mad. I am just angry. Because that season 2 trailer for The Boys was phenomenal. Ooh, can't wait. But instead of demanding better quality products, you just take it. And you don't need to just take it. You can demand better. You can demand more. And when Orville returns to TV on NBC, which is going to be interesting, because NBC was the original home of the Next Generation for Star Trek, I will be like, this represents a lot of things, and I'm here for it. You got your gay couples, you got your minorities, you got your Seth MacFarlane's, who's kind of a minority. He's someone with immense talent who never really uses it. It's kind of a minority.
I mean, think about it for a second. They've done a better job at the Orville has done a better job at detailing the full diaspora, if you will, the ups and downs of a real relationship, specifically a marriage, with two aliens in Bortis and Clive. Then in what, 2 seasons? Then the CW has with most, if not all, of their couples in 10 combined.
Bortis and wasn't it Cliven?
Yeah, Clytus.
Clyden with a D. Clyden.
Yeah, Clyden and Bortis. Yeah.
Bortis and Clyden is a better couple than anything we've gotten from the CW in all of its 8 years in existence of DC shows. All across the 6 shows they have for the Arrowverse. And the gay alien couple is the best couple on television for sci-fi fans. And the thing is it's not steeped in this forced narrative to always present a group of people in a positive light or a negative light. It's this desire to show them as real individuals. They have different beliefs, and it's causing conflict. And that's a good thing, because it shows that there's this realism in it, even though the alien race is so absurd that a divorce literally constitutes a murder. Gladden tries to murder Bortis because he wants a divorce. Oh, I fucking love that scene. Like, the look on Seth MacFarlane's face was fucking priceless. He writes the show, and he always seems so lost at the things going on around him. Wait, what? What? Wait, what? I think that's the most repeated line in that show. Wait, what? Wait, what? Oh, I can't wait for that fucking show. So, I will say this. There are glimpses of these characters being not just tolerable, but fantastic. When Supergirl got all giddy and excited, I'm like, that's the kind of Supergirl that I think fans would love. Very poppy, very bubbly. And I know people are like, women are good. Women are more than just... All right, yeah, but Marcus, why do we love All Might so much?
It's that smile, man. Keeps that smile.
He
no
always
matter what.
keeps his smile. So this idea that Supergirl can't be more bubbly and more fun because, they don't want to, because... No, any reason you got is bullshit. Because you could easily do it and just say it's a public persona. Or you could just make her that way, and people would like her because she'd be a likable character. Because guess what? People who smile, people who are engaging, people who are warm and friendly are naturally going to be viewed as more popular. It's biology.
It's not the narrative. Again, Chad, it's not the narrative. No, smiling doesn't have anything to do. See, smiling doesn't make you a badass, Chad. You have to be this quote unquote the boss bitch, this badass independent female garbage. Because it's deemed as when we compliment on the smiling as I guess men, we're saying that that's the entirety of a personality, not a piece of it, right?
Yep. Which is ironic because the reason why Barry Allen is so popular is because he's the smiling, happy superhero.
And the only reason why we can compliment these characters at this point in their stories is because of the actors behind them, not the characters that they're playing, because they're constantly written poorly.
I mean, basically.
So, it's the charisma of Melissa Benoist, the charisma of Grant Gustin that shines, not the constant stupidity and the subpar leadership of Barry Allen or the high horse that the L's constantly get put on that's oftentimes overdone with Supergirl, because not only does she have to be right or know what to do or be in the right until absolutely proven to be wrong, she also has to crap on her cousin at any given point. Bell cousin.
But she's not crapping on her cousin. Her cousin acquiesces to her. And I'm just kind of like, who would acquiesce that much? Especially Superman. The greatest criticism Superman has ever been levied against him is he does not know how to stop. And I think that's one of the greatest kind of positive, negative traits you could ever have. I work too hard, I work too much. And that's Superman. Like, he's not going to acquiesce a position. He's going to find a way to help. He's not going to necessarily supersede you. But he's going to let you know, like, I'm here. I'm not going to just bow out because the script says so. And I think that's one of the big reasons why Tyler Hoechlin's Superman has failed with me, is because he's kind of just unassertive. It doesn't work. Like, he's too passive. He's too willing to just stand on the sidelines. And why would Superman ever stand on the sidelines? And to the credit of Batwoman, there were a few scenes in this crossover where I was like, this could really work. But again, we go back to this forced narrative, this forced, ideology where instead of just having her take up the cape and cowl of her cousin, why are they always cousins? And going, if Bruce can't do this, I'll do my best to fill in. Because then we can root for her. Because she's not coming from a place of arrogance. But instead, the first fucking line out of her mouth when she decides to become Batwoman is, I need you to alter that suit. Why? It's pure perfection. It will be when it fits a woman. Why does it need to be perfection on a woman? Why can't it just be perfection? And that's the problem with a lot of these characters is the writing staff and Berlanti has gone out of their way to make them only appeal to a select group of people.
Yeah.
And therein lies the problem. But there were scenes in this crossover with Batman where I'm like, if you had just done everything off just a little bit from what you did, Batwoman would have been a huge fucking character for you. Instead, it's one of the lowest rated shows. So I feel like this is a culmination of what could have been. Losing Stephen Amell is the end of whatever was left of the dignity of this universe. And shoehorning the whole Felicity Oliver romance ruined Arrow. It absolutely did. Fans were waiting for years for Laurel and Oliver to get back together. But they ended up going just beyond that for some reason and making Felicity the choice, and it just never worked. She was a quippy, quirky character, and they tried to make her the love interest, and it just led to a lot of dumb arguments, dumb power struggles, and just stupid, fucking pathetic, one-sided, arrogant bullshit with double standards out the ass.
Yeah, a lot of repetitive, unnecessary stuff that just did nothing but waste a bunch of time. That show really never got back. I mean, thank God for season 5, and I think they did a great job in the beginning of season 7, because the first half of that, like I said, the best thing they did was actually commit to Oliver being in jail.
Mm-hmm.
But once he gets out, that damn season goes down, to hell in the handbasket. Because that begins the whole Amico crap, and we all know how that ended. So, that's the thing. But yeah, losing Stephen Amell is a huge thing, and we're not completely crapping on everything in these final 2 parts. Like, I think some of the best. I think Katie Lotz did some of her best acting ever in the Arrowverse, probably in these last 2 episodes. With the whole story of like losing Oliver is like the last piece of who she used to be.
Mm-hmm.
And that's good. I mean, she even, just great scenes between her and Grant Gustin. That's probably some of the best moments in the last 2 eps, was because it's when this universe slows down and allows these actors to shine through with these characters in a natural way, with logical, points of reference and whatnot. That's when this stuff is at its strongest.
Mm-hmm.
And, her and I sitting on the stoop and talking about, Barry sitting on the stoop talking about Oliver, and just that scene in the bunker. God damn it, David Ramsey's ass.
Oh, God. Just stop crying, because you're going to make me cry.
Oh, we all need a Diggle in our lives. Jesus.
I have one.
It's
not as tall, but probably passes his cousin. Talking about you, Marcus.
Thank you. Now I'm going to cry. Damn it. I'm hard. I'm a bad.
I'm bad.
Damn it. But yeah, David Ramsey, like just that scene in the bunker, the scene in the suit, a great little thing that they did with the arrow pyre and what you call it, setting on fire. Like you said, Melissa Benoist, the joy she had before Barry showed that table.
Right.
Great. I think they did great stuff. I think I liked everything they did with Black Lightning. It was small and simple, and they didn't overdo anything with Black Lightning. They didn't have him be over black. You know how that go.
Yeah.
Can time to time. They didn't do anything like that with him. Like I said, Mick. The legends work. However, the legends work. They can get away a lot more with the legends, because the whole point is them flying by the seat of their pants.
Can we just take a beat for a second and talk about that final Black Lightning line when Barry's like, "Now we have a place to meet anytime the world's being threatened," and Black Lightning's like, "Yeah, but how often is that?" And everyone just goes, and he goes, "Oh, it's like that." And Clark just nods.
Oh God! And then Kate was like, "Okay," like I was a new kid last year too. Like, oh, okay. I'm like, oh, welcome to the Arrowverse, man.
He was awesome in the crossover, even though he didn't have a lot of lines. I thought he added a little bit of kind of new fan connectivity. Like if you were just watching this for the first time, Black Lightning would be your entry point. Like that would be the character that you would relate with, because he doesn't know the fuck's going on either. So it works. As for, I think the crossover would have been better if you had just made episode 5 about the recovery and figuring out all the changes in the world and going forward with that. I don't like that they gave Clark and Lois 2 sons. I don't know why you needed 2 sons. One would have been fine. I don't know. That's dumb. I like that they brought back Connor and
maybe Sarah. Yeah,
Sarah. Hey, that was great. That was cool. The pyre with Oliver is actually a callback to 0 Hour. So, not 0 Hour, but Final Night.
Yeah.
When Parallax destroys time and has it rebuilt, Oliver Queen shoots him with an arrow, and Parallax gets lost in time and yanks Kyle with him, essentially, Kyle Rayner. But when Parallax resurfaces back in the modern time, there's this alien called the Sun Eater, and it eats the heat from the sun. So the Earth starts to freeze over. So Parallax returns to Earth and makes amends with Kyle, Guy Gardner, Jon Stewart, Batman. I think he even sees Alan Scott. And then he goes up and he reignites the sun, which ends up killing him because he exerts all that energy and he just passes. So when they finally bury Hal Jordan, they don't bury him as Parallax, they bury him as Green Lantern, and they have Swamp Thing and Alan Scott create a pyre. And a green flame is ignited around a new kind of growing green garden, if you will, around it in the ashes of Coast City, which is where Hal was from, and it was destroyed way before. So Swamp Thing grows a bunch of plants. Alan Scott lights this eternal flame, and they basically say that this flame will burn forever because it is the essence of Hal Jordan. So they kind of did the same thing with Oliver Queen in this. And I don't know if it was a direct callback or an inspiration or if it's just a random idea that they had that ended up coinciding with a moment in the comics, but I really did like it because it did harken back to that moment. I thought that was a good piece of fan lore, if not anything else, but just a decent scene in general. So there was some good in it. And you're right with John Cryer. He is a fantastic Lex Luthor. Very campy. I think he would have fit very well in the Richard Donner Superman movies. Very over the top. Overall, though, I thought this was still a stronger crossover than what was that first one with the Hawks?
Oh God. That wasn't the Brave and the Bold. That was because that was Oliver and Barry. That was I just know it had to do with freaking Vandal Savage, that whole deal.
It was like
Vandal
the
Savage crossover.
backdoor pilot for Legends, I think.
Yeah.
I think. It was better than that one. It wasn't as good as the Earth X one, though. That one was pretty good.
Yeah. Yeah, I
Brave
think
and the
they
Bold
peaked
were
with
pretty
that. Yeah.
Do you think next year's could be anything like this? Or do you think like the days of major crossovers are done?
I think, for me, like I said, I think they peaked at Earth X, and I think a lot of that had to do because they got to rely on a lot of their best actors pulling double duty.
Mm-hmm.
And it was far more practical stuff in that than them fighting freaking boo-boo phantoms. A bunch of boo-boo phantoms in the Corps they were fighting. I can only imagine how that looked when they was doing it. But
just tennis balls on strings.
Exactly. I'm the paragon of this. Shut up.
I'm the paragon of tennis.
Exactly. But yeah, I mean, I think they would be better served now because I don't care how, say what they will about this. This did not work. It just didn't work. It was too convoluted. It was a mess. I get the fan service. We talked about liking fan service, but for the most part, it was just a mess. I think they would be better served now doing smaller crossovers, having this person come over here every now and then, that person go over there, and if they must, bring a larger group together, just have it make sense. But I think they'll be better served just having people pop up here and there, kind of like how Diggle and Lila will pop up on Flash for like that King Shark, a couple of those King Shark episodes and whatnot. Because that was the whole thing, and that's gonna be a sticking point too, coming off of this crisis. Like things are different now.
Mm-hmm.
Like Superman got two boys now, and one of them bet not be named Damien. Um, These don't pull that garbage. So he has two sons. The Diggle family is whole again. Maybe we may see some different stuff on the Flash, obviously, because I would imagine that the whole Flash disappears and Crisis is no longer a thing. So that's, but you never know. Black Lightning may be different. And maybe some things will be more different on shows than others. But at this point, I can't really trust these people to stay consistent with anything because, again, they went by the seat of their pants so much with this that, like I said, they're just going to make stuff fit for whatever narrative they're going with that episode. And if they stay consistent, that's a yay. But if they don't, it's like as per usual. But I think they'll be better served on smaller crossovers because it's not like for the most part, all the shows except Black Lightning film in Vancouver.
Mm-hmm.
So I would imagine we will see less of Black Lightning because, all these crossovers are logistical hell as is. So I wouldn't expect them to completely move an entire show, which is a complete, I would imagine, inconvenience to that cast to Vancouver. Supergirl went from LA to Vancouver, and because of that, they ended up losing Callista Flockhart.
Which, in my defense, wasn't much of a loss.
Yeah.
I was not a Callista fan. When it comes to these shows, one of the things I think that I really think they should do is cancel a few of them. And not to be malicious. I think these shows work better when you get rid of the excess. Like, if you look at Team Flash, you got like 19 superheroes. Like, even the reporter's a superhero. She's the Flash because, I don't know, got to shoehorn that dumbness into it. But, like, if you just had, like, a show called, like, Justice League or Justice or League or Society or Team Up Super Team 12, and you had, like, Black Lightning and Flash and Martian Manhunter and whoever and whoever and whoever and whoever, and it was kind of presented as a super team, I think fans could get behind that because God knows the Legends aren't doing that. The Legends are just kind of like the meta show, and I don't fucking care about that. I think one of the big things coming out of this is there's three essentially spinoffs coming. There's the Stargirl spinoff. There's the Lois and Clark, or Lois and Superman, because Lois gotta go first. And then there's gonna be what was the other one? Canary or Green Arrow and the Canaries or some dumbness like that.
Yeah.
And I hate that. It's gonna be. I have no interest. It's gonna last 2 seasons. I think a better idea would have been to resurrect Tommy and have him take the mantle, because that would have been like a huge shock, and then you could have had Green Arrow still stay with the DC, so to speak, and like have him occupy that chair. I think that would have been a better way of going about it, and it would have been a shocker as well. I don't have an issue with the Green Arrow and Canary show or whatever it's called, but you could have done something completely different with the premise. So I don't know. A lot of these shows I've just lost touch with. Like, these shows are not being made for us anymore. They're being made for other people who don't even watch these shows or stopped watching these shows, or I don't know. They're clout chasing for these shows at this point.
Exactly, like you said, a lot of these people are just with these shows and huge supporters because they want their narratives substantiated, and that's really what they're surviving on, is catering to those fans. And look, knowing your audience is half the game. We've seen a lot of people go down because they misjudged and whatnot, and the Batwoman audience is being fed for whatever that audience likes, and we talked about the representation of it all, but also if they're not gonna cancel these shows, I know that's what you want, but like I was talking about with these crossovers, they're gonna continue to do them. This Arrowverse has always worked best when the stories were smaller, the stuff was more contained, stuff was tighter, and they just got to focus on a fair amount of superhero stuff, but more so the character stuff, because they have enough quality actors to make that stuff work. But when you've consistently shot past that and made them do just egregiously dumb stuff over and over and over again with these relationships that's being told to be more important than they actually are, with having moments being bigger than they actually are. And again, like you said, we've just kind of grown out of that because we've had the opportunity to watch stuff be better on shows that really didn't even have to be better, like the Orville, and the, like the Boys. So it's gonna be interesting seeing like which show comes out on top of the new ones. Superman and Lois and Canaries and Stargirl. Hopefully, Stargirl being on a different Earth hits a little bit differently, but you never know.
Mm-hmm.
But for the sticking point, like I said, it was cool to see all those Earths and them to integrate. Even the film universe, and the fact that I think the most commendable thing of everything else besides Lamont Garrett putting in God knows how many hours just on makeup alone is the fact that they actually kept the damn Ezra Miller thing a secret.
That was cool. As kind of out of nowhere as that was, and unexplainable as it was, because there was supposed to be no one else left alive. That was cool.
Yeah, that was great. Ezra is really cool for that. Apparently, it was the high ups at WB that wanted that did. So like I said, like you said, that was really cool. That gives some semblance of hope for what we are being told is going to be a Flash movie. Again, me and Chad are only gonna put faith and hope in that when we get a trailer, and even then, we still gonna be skeptical because that's how we have to do now.
I'm not going to believe that movie exists until I'm an hour and a half into it.
Which, to be fair, fits the narrative of a Flash movie, which probably is going to involve a lot of damn time travel. So,
you know it.
Yeah. So, yeah. I mean, at this point, the thing I'm most excited about when it comes to TV side of things is probably the Green Lantern thing, like you and Zach. Hopefully they actually gave the 2011 Green Lantern a shout out with that great shot on Oa, which was again probably one of the better parts of the movie when they was on Oa. So that was cool. Hopefully they, if nothing else, even though Belani is behind that, and I know you cringing as I say it, hopefully they could do something different with that on the HBO platform than they would being on the CW and having to cater to that established fan base.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but like I said, the Flash cameo was really cool because one, nobody saw it coming. Two, they actually kept it under wraps, and we know how fanatical they are about giving stuff away just so they could draw people in for these crossovers. So the fact that they actually kept that is commendable. Now, if they could stick to that type of stuff going forward, that would be cool. But again, I won't hold my breath.
I wouldn't either. I wouldn't. Overall, I thought it was disappointing, but I don't think it was necessarily bad. I think that's the way I'll describe Crisis on Infinite Earths.
Yeah, agree. But yeah, I got to lend your knowledge on this question. Who is Gleek?
Oh, the little blue monkey that Jan and Jace had. Zan and Jace, the Wonder Twins.
Ah, gotcha. Okay. That's cool. And shout out to Marv Wolfman who made a cameo too. That was cool.
Yeah, that was pretty cool.
Yeah. So yeah, like you said, disappointment, but not not necessarily bad. Certainly we've actually gotten worse out of this Arrowverse. Like we again, that's that B episode of Arrow is still top of the list. So.
So yeah, that's it for Crisis in my opinion. Unless you have anything else you want to add.
No, that's about it.
So, Stargirl coming out soon. I haven't seen the new trailer, but I have seen some highlights of it. I'm gonna reserve judgment because that's one of the better characters that was ever written in the last 20 some odd years. And
Yeah.
being it a not Jan Jurgens, a Jeff Johns piece, you really hope that one lands because it's literally a character based off of his departed sister. So my hero's
Yeah.
banging. My hero's banging.
Oh yeah, my oh my God, my hero is absolutely on fire right now. It's been a slow build to this. Uh, this last episode specifically, which literally got trending on Twitter, which was exceptionally cool, deservingly so. Yeah, my hero's banging. We got some. I saw that you wasn't that you got intrigued by the Morbius trailer. That was cool.
Yeah, that looks interesting. The one thing that I'm kind of disappointed about is it was very sterile. Like a lot of the shots were in these very cold, very bleak. I shouldn't even say bleak, very empty and emotionless hallways. Like that
Yeah.
was kind of whatever. But I loved the look of him when he went full vamp at the end of the trailer, and the whole tombs of it all. Vulture showing up was cool. I tug that. I'm looking forward to that. I don't know if it's going to be any good or not, but that's like very much a fan of. And I know the animated series gave him the suction cups on his hands to so he can drain plasma. Can I just be honest? I think that's far more terrifying than just being a vampire. Because like you shake his hand and then it just latches onto your skin. Yeah, you.
It's so fun. So funny you said that because I was watching because you can find basically. I mean, me and Chad found that great um, video on the basically the docu series about the Power Rangers movie from the '90s,
Mm-hmm.
which was fantastic, and the fact that they did what managed to do what they did on the budget they had and a lot of the constraints is amazing. But because apparently that cast went through a lot of hell. Because apparently they had to shoot episodes of the show as well on the back half of that movie, which is nuts. But um, like getting a retrospective on the animated series of Spider-Man, which was one of my favorite shows coming up in the '90s. Like doing stuff like the thing, the suction plasma things on with Morbius. The fact that you never really saw Spider-Man punching or kicking anybody. They had to do a lot of stuff like that because they basically got pigeonholed in a lot of ways for violence and stuff like that because basically the show, a lot of what the show had to do was try to market toys, unfortunately.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, so they got pigeonholed, but that stuff ended up working. Like I never really paid attention to the fact that Spider-Man never really like did a lot of melee stuff until like somebody pointed it out. And the whole thing with Morbius, that whole thing was like because they couldn't have him like sucking blood because of the kids and whatnot. But like you said, that ended up working better and actually working out for creepy because it's like his hands were alive. Like that whole deal. Like that would be something like that almost reminds me of the creatures from Blade 2 with the tongue with the suction thing in it.
Yep.
Yeah, so I mean I think that stuff ended up working out better. So, I don't think obviously they're not gonna do this for this movie. I think will be cool. But yeah, like you said, the tunes of it all, Michael Keaton is just magic on screen. Um, and I think Jared Leto may be able to get some redemption for what he wasn't able to do with the Joker in this, specifically because he clearly gets to flesh a character out here. Um, but also gave me, and I don't know if you've seen the movie, it gave me some Dracula Untold vibes.
Oh, with the Dark Universe Dracula with what's his
Yeah,
face?
yeah, Luke Evans is
Yeah.
Dracula, yeah.
I saw this. I saw some of that movie. I haven't seen all of it. I think Dracula for me, doing him like a big budget action movie just didn't land with me. So like I wasn't really
Yeah.
interested in seeing it. I think he works a lot better when he's twisted up in a story of relative low. Like Dracula works really well when it's played off of as he's just some random dude. And why are you attacking him? He's just some random guy. He's not a vampire. Vampires don't exist. And you get to play up the paranoia that comes with being this being that is thought of to be nothing but fiction and lore. I like that. I think that works a lot better. But that's just my opinion.
Yeah, I mean, between that or when he's on a date with somebody's mom.
Yeah. To be fair.
Yeah. Yeah.
So yeah, the Morbius trailer I think is interesting. We'll see what happens with that. Could be interesting. Anything else that's tickled your fancy or crossed your plate that you want to mention?
Uh, those Black Widow trailers are getting better. Um, Intrigued seeing what they do with that. I mean, uh, I know some people in the middle about how they looked at Taskmaster or whatnot, but I
Yeah,
think
he
yeah, I
doesn't
mean,
have a
it's gonna
great.
be cool. Yeah, it's gonna be cool getting that character on screen. We're gonna see how it's fully executed. But so far, so good for me in terms of looking at what they're gonna do with Black Widow. Obviously, we know how the story ends, and I think she might ended up garnering a little bit more support because the performance she put in with Endgame.
Mm-hmm.
I think got a lot of people to her side finally. Well, a lot of people that had been with her from the start, they finally got to see exactly what she could do in that character, given the actual material to go there. So that might end up lending us more support. And yeah, I don't know if we talked about that. We talked about the Wonder Woman of it all. Like how we felt about that.
Uh, it's too early for me to tell. I'm not a fan
Yeah.
of period pieces. We've talked about this before.
Yeah.
The idea of Kristen Wiig as a villain, I've never been against because I remember watching her in Whip It. And now, granted,
Yeah.
it's a very lighthearted movie, but she was a very toned down character in that film. And I know Kristen Wiig can act. Like, that's not
Yeah.
up for debate, in my opinion. I just don't know if I like the aesthetics of the 80s. Like, I didn't really like it with X-Men Days of Futures Past, not Days of Futures, X-Men Apocalypse. I think this desire to constantly revisit these old eras, those old decades for nostalgia's sakes, I'm not a fan. Like, I think that's one of the big issues with the, we'll call them the first class X-Men movies, if you will.
Yeah.
I thought that was a big issue, was like this need to go back in time for no reason. Like, no, dumb. But with like Wonder Woman in the first film, like going back to the First World War, like that made sense to a degree, but it also didn't need to be that way. You could have done it in a more modern time. So like, I don't know. Like, I feel like it's a cheap ploy. Like, hey, we're in the '80s. How cool is that? We're gonna be quirky. Look, a blockbuster.
No, I get it, and that perfectly ties into your 2 days earlier. Damn it!
Ah, uh,
Oh man. Um, but yeah, that's it's gonna be interesting seeing what they do with him. You got any hope for Vin pulling off this bloodshot thing?
no, God, no. If you didn't tell me that was a movie based on Bloodshot, I would never have guessed. I feel so bad for Jason David Frank. That dude went through the makeup. He got the symbol. He got himself in shape. Well, he's always in shape. Like, he looked like Bloodshot, and then all of a sudden Vin Diesel does it, and he just looks like Vin Diesel. Oh, cool. Go play with Street Shark action figures, Vin. You D&D nerd.
Dominic Toretto that went under surgery.
Basically, with Hobbs and Shaw, all Bloodshot is Dominic Toretto in a Fast and Furious movie at this point. Because if Idris Elba can become Black Superman, then why the hell can't Dominic Toretto become Bloodshot in that universe? I'm talking about Jump the Shark. Not good. Not good. All right. So yeah, that's all I got for this week. What about you?
Yeah, same here. That's about it. We I think the two of us just really waiting on the balls and the Orville to come back, man.
And any news on when the Orville's coming back?
No, not actually. I was shocked about that whole switch of the networks, man. Shout out to Seth MacFarlane for really, uh, pulling that power move and getting, that creative power, because he gonna be, pumping a lot of content out, both film and TV wise now. So, and well, he's been with Fox for like what, 10 years?
Oh God, longer than that. 1999, 21 years. He's been with Fox since Family Guy launched, which was I think in like 99, 2000, 2001. So
yeah. That's big. But all we know, I think, is about season 3 that it's gonna just air late this year. So, um,
late
so
this year or late this season?
Let's see. It says late. That's gonna be season 3 to premiere in late 2020. So.
So basically, we're gonna
uh,
go a full year in between seasons. Whores. That's all I gotta say. Whores. You whores. All right, Marcus. You and I will be back on Sunday for WrestleCorp. We are going to talk whatever is relevant on Sunday. Royal Rumble's coming up. I guess we should do a preview show.
yeah. Apparently something got poor Impact got yanked, huh?
So Rob Van Dam and Rob Van Dam's girlfriend and Rob Van Dam's girlfriend's girlfriend caused Twitch to ban them from Twitch. Most Twitch bans aren't permanent. They're for a few days, so expect the account to be up and running. But it's fucking funny, and everyone's like, lol TNA, but like, listen, this isn't a lol TNA. This is great for TNA. Because now they can start marketing themselves as too hot for TV. Like, that's great. That's
the one time RVD actually gave you the whole effing show.
Right?
Oh,
right.
Man.
So we'll be back on Sunday. Talk more then. We should be going tomorrow for our first episode of the Chuck versus the Podcast series, which is going to be me and Swisher talking about the famous NBC sci-fi hilarity that is the TV show Chuck. It's fantastic. I recommend everyone check it out. We're going to be watching that, and it's going to be phenomenal. So tune in.
Oh, wow. Shout out to you and Swish for that. I don't know why my mind immediately went to you and Swish, like watching videos of the Chuck Norris video with him shooting everybody, except like the Chuck Pod thing is him shooting podcasters.
That would be funny.
Oh my God.
And we'll be back for that Friday, hopefully. Saturday, I think we're doing Bulletstorm or some dumbness on GameCorp. Tune in for that. Both those shows are going to be right here on twitch.tv/Comic and GameCorp. Friday night at 11:30, Saturday night at 9:30, usually Pacific time. That's about 12:30 a.m. Sunday morning Eastern time. Then Marcus and I are back on Sunday at 9 o'clock to talk wrestling and whatever happened over the weekend. So catch up with that. Catch up with us on that at twitch.tv/WrestlingUnderground. We're also on youtube.com/The Wrestling Underground, and you can find our Comic and GameCorp channel on YouTube by searching Comic and GameCorp on the search. All shows are brought to you by RealNerdCorp.com, RealNerdCorp.com. Go there, check out all the most recent articles, the most recent podcasts, and download them today. If you want a direct link to the podcasts to download for the last few weeks, last few months, last few years, you can go to RealNerdCorp.podbean.com and download the podcasts to your mobile device and computer today. If you want to download it to your mobile device, download the Podbean app. Search for us at Real Nerd Corp on the Podbean app and get started listening today. We're also on iTunes at NERDCORP if that's your preferred method of listening to shows. We're on Twitter, there it is, at NERDCORP, on Instagram at Real Nerd Corp, RealNerdCorp. We're also on, did I say Instagram? Yeah, Instagram. We're also on, I think that's everything. Marcus can be found on his personals at ParadoxKid, ParadoxKid.
That's me.
That's him on Twitter. You can also find him on his other podcast, the True Penny Podcast, at True Penny Show on Twitter. That's TRUE. I'm sorry, that's that's right. TRUEPENYSHOW. And you can find me on Twitter at ChadNerdCorp, ChadNerdCorp, as well as on his Instagram at Chad'sPhotoHut. For Mark Screen, I'm Chad Portal. This has been another edition of the ComicCorp Podcast. Thanks for tuning in. Thanks for giving us a chance. And remember to read more comics. That's right, we're just going to bastardize all of our sayings. So, with all that being said, this has been the end of our Infinite Crisis review. Marcus, unless you have anything else you'd like to add, take us home.
Good night, me.